Madison Clark sat quietly, her mind a tumult of disbelief and frustration. The conference room was a sea of polished wood and bright screens, where corporate dreams were made or shattered. Today, hers had taken a hit. "Madison, you need to understand," Logan, the director with a voice as smooth as silk, started. "The board is looking for someone to embody our vision, someone with charisma to carry the team forward. It's not just about the coding." Madison felt the sting of his words, each one hitting like a reminder of her invisible status. Her heart beat loudly in her chest, a relentless drum in the silent room. "But it's my project," she managed to whisper, her voice a fragile thread in the vast expanse of executive decisions. She had invested months nurturing this innovation like a fragile seedling. Logan grinned, that practiced, condescending smile that suggested he was the benevolent one. "I'm aware of the effort you've poured in, and I'll ensure the team receives full acknowledgement. But the presentation? That's my forte, not yours." Madison forced a nod, trying to swallow the bitter pill of inadequate recognition. Madison Clark, a 29-year-old software developer, had committed 6 dedicated years to Vertex Dynamics. Her skills were undeniable, praised in performance reviews laden with compliments, and the stream of challenges continually routed her way. Yet, if asked, the higher-ups might struggle to place her face or name. In meetings, her quiet nature was her shield and her barrier, a double-edged sword in the loud, colorful world of corporate games. Her father, a humble man, would always encourage, "Let your accomplishments speak without you voicing them." This philosophy had served her well in academia, but had left her nearly invisible in the bustling corporate corridors. Still, she was not disheartened, at least not outwardly. The art of creation thrilled her. Building from zero, designing solutions that transformed abstract ideas into usable, tangible products felt like painting with technical prowess. Recognition was secondary. The work itself was her reward, pulling her into late nights in the glow of her computer screen. This project was no mere assignment, it was her brainchild. A quarter-year prior, Vertex Dynamics had embarked on a colossal endeavor, transforming their client interface system into an industry leader. The chief technology officer, Gavin Holt, had labeled it their moonshot project. Ambitious? Absolutely, as everyone vied for a slice of this technological pie. During a pivotal team meeting initiated by Logan, Madison presented her concept, a groundbreaking application harnessing artificial intelligence to enhance client relationships through personalization and seamless interactions. As she laid her plan out, the room went silent. Eyes focused. Logan actually quit scrolling through his phone, his attention on her for once. He finally nodded, acknowledgement simmering, as he entrusted her with leading its creation. For the first time, Madison glimpsed a horizon where her efforts might truly shine. The subsequent months morphed into a blur filled with coding marathons, caffeine-fueled nights, and relentless refinement of her brainchild. Her desk overflowed with sticky notes and empty coffee cups, silent testimony to her devotion. Despite personal sacrifices, it felt worthwhile, an opportunity realized. Logan's sporadic visits during development were marked by ambiguous inquiries: how's progress, he'd ask, or need support. Madison believed he respected her peace, not knowing he was preparing his escape route for the spotlight's arrival. Completion of the project brought pride to Madison, more than any plaque or applause could convey. Her creation was not just functional, it was a masterpiece of efficiency and elegance. Within the lines of code lay her silent signature, a series of unique sequences only she could decipher, an ode to the passion she'd instilled from commencement to completion. With excitement and trepidation, Madison approached the day of unveiling, thinking these weeks of hard labor were about to bear fruit. But then Logan, with hardly any warning, called for a sudden meeting. It wasn't like him to deviate from his carefully constructed schedules, signaling something was off. The thunderstorm outside mirrored the turbulence within Madison Clark as she stood in the sterile, overly lit conference room of Vertex Dynamics. Her thoughts spun like a cyclone, turbulent and relentless. We're all set for the presentation next week, Logan, the team leader, announced casually as if it were an ordinary briefing. I'll be presenting on behalf of the team. Madison blinked in disbelief. Sure, she must have misheard. Wait, she said slowly, her voice barely masking the shock seeping through. You're presenting? Of course, Logan replied, his voice laced with unearned confidence. It falls under my responsibilities as team leader. Don't worry, Madison. I'll ensure the team gets due recognition. But Madison began, her words stumbling over themselves. I've been dedicated to this project for months. No one knows it like I do. Exactly, Logan interrupted with a patronizing pat on the back. You've achieved incredible things. I can't thank you enough, but we need someone who sells vision, not just details. Trust me, it's for the best. The room was a vacuum of support. Her colleagues, most of whom hadn't been directly involved, seemed keen to avoid confrontation, their gazes fixed on anything but her. Defeated, Madison nodded and left, feeling a mix of anger and nausea rising within her. That evening, seeking solace, Madison called her best friend, Peyton, who was in the midst of planning their wedding. The second Peyton detected the tremor in her friend's voice. The color schemes and floral designs were forgotten. What happened? Peyton demanded, concern sharpening their tone. Madison recounted the whole ordeal in a heated torrent of words, every betrayal freshly stinging. He's taking it all, Peyton. He'll hug the spotlight and steal every ounce of credit. That snaky jerk. Peyton spat with righteous indignation. You can't let him walk all over you like this. But what can I do? Madison's voice cracked under the weight of helplessness. He's the leader. Everyone trusts him implicitly. Peyton paused, thoughts clearly racing. Do you have proof? A pointed question, each syllable a seed of possibility. As Peyton's words lingered in the air, Madison felt a plan, albeit embryonic, take root in her mind. The internal presentation at Vertex was only the tip of the iceberg in humiliations. From her shadowed spot in the corner, arms folded defensively, Madison watched as Logan mesmerized the executives, gliding through her creations as if they were his brainchild. This application, Logan exclaimed, gesturing towards slides drenched in Madison's relentless effort, will revolutionize client interaction, creating an experience that's intuitive, adaptive, and responsive. Madison's confidence deflated with each lie, each gesture. Logan hadn't contributed a single scrap of code. His only real input had been a cursory nod of approval. Watching the room swell with applause, Madison felt a chasm open beneath her, threatening to swallow her whole. Silently, she slipped out, overwhelmed by the deceptions and the unjust accolades. That night, she lay awake, the ceiling her companion in insomnia. Her mind was a carousel of possible scenarios. What if confronting Logan made her the outcast, the difficult one? He could easily twist the truth, turning her peers against her. The idea of calling her parents for advice fluttered briefly through her mind, only to be squashed by the predictions of their responses. Her mom's usual advice, let it go, sweetheart. Keep working and your moment will arrive, felt like a chain more than comfort. Her dad would echo the sentiment, wary of workplace rivalries and always cautious. Madison didn't want to wait for some distant moment. She yearned to seize what was rightfully hers now. But challenging Logan, a figure who wielded considerable clout, seemed an almost insurmountable task, leaving her feeling minuscule and powerless. The next day, Peyton intercepted her in the break room. A fire burned in Peyton's eyes, a blaze fueled by loyalty and frustration. What's the plan? They pressed. Madison sighed, sagging against the countertop, defeat still clinging to her. There is no plan. What am I supposed to do? March into HR and accuse him of theft? They'd laugh. Not if you have proof, Peyton countered, their gaze ferocious and unwavering. Didn't you once say you left a unique mark in the code? Something unmistakably yours. Beneath the relentless cityscape, Madison Clark found herself engulfed in the comforting chaos of a local cafe, one that smelled distinctly of fresh pastries and aromatic coffee. The hubbub clashed with the quiet determination stewing within her. Across the table, Her best friend Peyton looked up from a clutter of wedding catalogs, eyes sharp with intent. "We need a plan," Peyton declared, shoving her own concerns aside. Madison nodded, fully aware that Logan, the celebrated figure in their company, was steeling himself to capitalize on her hard-earned creation. "You're right," Madison sighed. "Logan is everyone's favorite. But I can't let that stop me." Peyton's gaze softened with empathy. "You deserve recognition, Madison. Don't let him decide your worth." Throughout the day, those words echoed in Madison's mind, weaving through her thoughts like a thread of resolve. By evening, she decided to fight back smartly. Later that week, the two friends met again, huddled conspiratorially in their favorite corner of Harborside Cafe, a block from the tower where they worked. "All right, let's brainstorm," Peyton said, positioning a notebook between them. "How do we prove you built that app?" "The signature in the code is glaring evidence," Madison replied hesitantly. "But it won't mean much unless there's a public revelation." Peyton leaned in, a gleam of strategy in her eyes. "Then publicize it. When's his next big reveal?" "The tech summit," Madison murmured, the words barely louder than the rhythmic tapping of rain against the windows. "He'll show it off to investors there." "Perfect," Peyton grinned with a determined nod. "That's your moment." In the weeks that followed, their clandestine meetings grew more frequent. Peyton, ever tenacious, prodded Madison to rehearse her speech until her voice carried her truth confidently. They tirelessly refined every aspect of their strategy. Yet doubt often crept in during quiet moments, cutting through Madison's nerves like icy fingers. "What if it backfires?" Madison had said one night, her hesitation threatening to drown her resolve. "Then you press on," Peyton asserted, her tone unwavering. "You control the truth, Madison, and that's something Logan can never counterfeit." Despite her friend's support, Madison couldn't ignore the looming consequences. Logan wasn't just an authority. His connections weaved through the management hierarchy like a web, his influence difficult to uproot. Failure could shackle her career with the label of a disruptor, an untrustworthy employee. She maintained a facade of calm, responding politely during meetings as Logan flaunted her work. Every mention of the summit brought another wave of anxiety, yet Madison masked it with a practiced smile. "I just wanted to acknowledge your incredible efforts," Logan said with his usual charisma one afternoon. Forcing a smile, Madison replied, "Thanks." "Too thick, but she's ready," Madison thought as Logan walked away, her determination absorbing his false flattery like a sponge soaked in fuel. Peyton appeared beside her, raising a brow. "He's really piling it on." "He knows something's brewing," Madison murmured. "Let him feel the heat," Peyton shrugged casually. "He's earned it." The night before the summit, sleep was elusive. Madison rehearsed tirelessly, her laptop open with the signature glowing like a beacon on the screen, a tangible reminder of her ownership, her voice ready to be heard. When she finally collapsed into bed, exhaustion replaced her doubts with an unfamiliar sensation, hope. The Tech Summit was a marvel of modern ambition, sleek, bustling, intimidatingly grand. A sprawling convention center stood in the heart of the city, alive with industry giants, investors, and inquisitive journalists. The air vibrated with lively chatter, accompanied by the faint clack of keyboards and the omnipresence of digital innovation. Amidst this vibrancy of networking and idea-exchanging professionals, Madison adjusted the hem of her blazer, gripping her laptop bag a lifeline, and silently begged she wouldn't stumble over her revelations. "Just breathe," Peyton coached, squeezing Madison's arm with comforting reassurance. Peyton had insisted she needed a break from wedding plans to stand by Madison's side, though Madison knew better. Peyton had moved mountains just to be there. "I believe in you," Peyton whispered, her voice a quiet anchor amidst the storm of excitement. Madison nodded, her heart pounding like the opening to a grand symphony. Time seemed to crawl, each tick of the clock a relentless reminder of the storm brewing inside Madison Clark. The curtain was almost ready to rise on yet another of Logan's self-congratulatory performances, where he'd flaunt Madison's innovations as his own. This wasn't the first time Madison had felt trapped in the shadows, but today was different. Today, preparation met opportunity. As she peered into the vast auditorium, Madison swallowed her nerves. The space seemed to gulp her down, rows of plush chairs leading to a stage flanked by towering, incandescent screens. Logan sauntered onto the stage, brimming with charisma, his words rolling out with the practiced ease of a seasoned orator. "Good afternoon, everyone," Logan began, his voice resonating through the room. "I'm honored to introduce a revolutionary application that will transform our client interactions." The screen flared to life behind him, displaying vivid images of the app. Madison's creation. A surge of frustration billowed within her as Logan outlined features Madison had meticulously crafted, his every line honed to apparent perfection. This software, Logan gestured grandly to the display, is designed with seamless personalization in mind, adaptable and intuitive, ready to meet the evolving needs of our clients. Scattered murmurs of approval drifted through the audience, a validation Logan was all too ready to absorb. Each word was a jab to Madison's pride, her vision hijacked and paraded as someone else's triumph. From her discreet position, Peyton, her ally and confidant, gave a small, resolute nod. Madison knew it was time. Steeling herself, Madison powered on her laptop, hands shaky but filled with determination. She had meticulously planned this moment, and now, armed with courage and keystrokes, the live demo on the screen flickered. The ambient hum of the auditorium's equipment was replaced by a collective gasp as bold text appeared at the bottom of the display, developed by Madison Clark. Logan faltered, visibly shaken, as the weight of the room's new attention pressed down on him. "What?" he blurted, spinning to face the screen, his face a mask of disbelief and rapidly draining color. Madison stood on unsteady legs. The room was a blur of anxious whispers and expectant eyes, but her resolve rooted her in place. "There's no mistake," Madison declared, voice clear despite the tumult within. "The application you're admiring was conceived and created solely by me." All eyes found Madison as she progressed toward the stage, the truth spilling out, each step emboldening her voice. "From concept to completion, this project has been my journey. Every line of code, every feature has my signature embedded within, proof of my authorship." Once on stage, Madison projected her laptop screen, revealing the unique identifier embedded in the code. The signature, bright and undeniable, glowed for all to see. A wave rippled through the audience, a sea of whispers and craning necks. Logan's expression wavered between disbelief and fury. "Madison, what are you doing?" he hissed, desperation lacing his voice. "You're causing a scene." "No, Logan," Madison replied, voice firm like steel tempered in fire. "I'm exposing the truth." The ensuing moments whirled into a tempest of reactions. Executives from Vertex Dynamics surged forward, their faces a blend of shock and urgency. Madison, unflinching, explained the digital signature, her role, her craft, her journey. The more she spoke, the more the atmosphere shifted. What began as doubt melded into understanding, then into an unforeseen triumph: validation. Despite Logan's frantic attempts to reclaim control, littered with weak justifications, the room had already turned. Faces softened in recognition, the narrative changed. Madison Clark was no longer just a name behind a screen. She was a creator, and this was her moment to bask in the light. The arena-like atmosphere of the Tech Summit buzzed with an energy that had only intensified since Madison Clark had exposed the truth about her project. It was undeniable Logan, who had posed as the mastermind, lost his grip on the room's attention. Backstage, the tension snapped like a taut wire as Logan cornered her, rage flushing his cheeks. "You had no right," he fumed, his voice a harsh whisper that cut through the clamor. Madison met his anger with calm conviction, arms crossed defiantly. "Unprofessional?" she echoed. "Logan, you claimed my work as yours." "I had every right to claim my truth." Before Logan could retort, Gavin Holt, the company's VP, appeared, his demeanor stern. "Logan, a word," Gavin demanded, escorting him from the fray. Relief washed over Madison, loosening her chest as her friend Peyton found her in the whirlwind aftermath, eyes sparkling with fiery admiration. "You were incredible," Peyton declared, pulling Madison into a congratulatory embrace. For the first time in what felt like ages, Madison took a full breath, relieved and validated from having reclaimed her voice and integrity. The conclusion of the summit was marked by a frenzy of rumors and quiet speculation. Logan seemed to vanish after his meeting with Gavin, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. Throughout the venue, colleagues and industry insiders approached Madison, their expressions a blend of shock and respect. "That took guts, Madison," one coworker remarked, hesitantly admiring her audacity. "I never knew you had it in you." Encounters like these brought a bittersweet sense of validation, making Madison ponder why such a spectacle was necessary for acknowledgement of her contributions. By the next day, word had spread Logan's desk was bare, and whispers of administrative leave were rampant. Surprisingly, Madison found her conscience clean of sympathy, liberated by the absence of his domineering shadow. Later that afternoon, Gavin called Madison into his office, his weariness visible. "Madison," he began, motioning for her to sit. "I owe you an apology. This should have been addressed sooner." Madison blinked, taken aback. "It's not your fault," she replied gently. Logan was skilled at hiding his tracks. Gavin sighed, the burden clear in his eyes. "That doesn't excuse what happened. We'll take measures to prevent it in the future. As for your work on the app." He paused, offering a genuine smile. "You've developed something incredible, and we want your efforts recognized." The following week, during the company-wide all-hands meeting, Gavin took the stage. What Madison had anticipated to be a formality turned into a revelation. Gavin acknowledged her profoundly, detailing her pivotal contributions. "Madison Clark has single-handedly developed the application now setting industry norms," he announced, inviting applause that filled the room. It felt surreal, standing in a spotlight once unfamiliar and intimidating. Yet now, Madison embraced it. Soon after, she was offered a promotion and a lead role on her next major project. Hesitation gnawed at her, the fear of inviting scrutiny or another manipulative figure lurked. But Peyton's voice resonated in her memory. "You deserve better than this." And so, Madison accepted. As her confidence rebuilt, she embraced the parts of herself previously shrouded in doubt. She became more vocal in meetings, sought feedback from colleagues, and even started mentoring junior developers. Each step solidified the truth that visibility was not a vulnerability, but demanded courage. In the months following the summit, life subtly transformed. Though Madison's mornings often wrestled with the persistent call of her alarm clock, and her evenings were still spent unwinding with tea and a novel, an undercurrent of confidence buoyed her through daily routines. At work, hesitation faded, replaced by a newfound readiness to share her ideas and innovations confidently. Madison Clark sat in the boardroom of Vertex Dynamics, feeling a shift she hadn't expected: empowerment. Instead of waiting quietly for her turn, Madison had begun raising her hand, voicing ideas that had been simmering in her mind for years. The transformation didn't happen overnight. Decades of silence didn't unravel in mere days, but the realization of the importance of her voice was a victory she savored one step at a time. One surprising change was in her workplace dynamics. Colleagues who had once turned a blind eye to Logan's antics were initially hesitant, unsure how to approach Madison. Meanwhile, others, like her steadfast ally Peyton, became more than coworkers. They celebrated small victories together, shared venting sessions over daunting deadlines, and even joked about starting a Madison fan club. For the first time, Madison felt she truly belonged, not just at work, but within herself. On the personal front, the journey was equally transformative. One Saturday, her dad called, his voice brimming with excitement. "I read the article about your app," he said, pride ringing through every syllable. "Your mom's been sharing it with everyone, even the neighbors." Madison chuckled, imagining her mom showing her phone to every passerby in their neighborhood. "Thanks, Dad. It's been a lot but rewarding," she replied. He paused, then added, "We always told you to remain humble, but it's okay to feel proud, too." Those words felt like an embrace, giving Madison a newfound permission to let go of the trepidation that had held her back for so long. After a big project launch, Madison found herself outside with Peyton. They sat on a nearby bench, sipping soda like they used to during late-night grind sessions. The city hummed around them under the streetlights, cars whizzing by, laughter from distant friends blending into white noise. "You did it," Peyton said, playfully nudging her. "You're officially a badass." Madison laughed, feeling a warmth she hadn't in years. "Couldn't have done it without a great coach," she smiled, meaning every word. Peyton's eyes softened, filled with unyielding support. "Madison, I'm really proud of you. You fought for yourself and you came out on top. Not everyone can do that." Their bond, strengthened by loyalty and shared struggles, had brought Madison to this moment. "Thank you, Peyton, for always believing in me." As Madison walked home that night, the city lights guiding her path, she reflected on how much she'd grown. Gone was the girl who trembled at the thought of speaking up. In her place stood a woman, stronger and braver, with a determination now etched into her very being. The road ahead wasn't promised to be smooth. Challenges and self-doubt still lurked around corners, but instead of retreating, Madison felt prepared. She wasn't just surviving the grind anymore, she was thriving in it, ready to embrace whatever came next. This wasn't an end, it was the dawn of something even more profound.